Hi, welcome back to Waxing On. It's Monday, and we're kicking off the week with a special soundtrack album. This one's from the movie Officer and Gentleman. Richard Gere, Deborah Winger, directed by Taylor Hackford, and features some great artists. Now, by this time, movie music was no longer just orchestral, but included a lot of popular or rock tunes. And this is one of those examples. Another one I think of off the top of my head, Taylor Hackford's as well, Against All Odds. Phil Collins did the tune for that one. So this one, there's quite a variety of performers on here, but there is one that seems to thread their way through a number of songs, and that's Buffy Sainte-Marie. Now, we haven't talked about Buffy Sainte-Marie before, but I do have an album of hers coming up shortly. But she's a Canadian singer-songwriter, been around forever. And again, got a number of tunes on this album. So let's just take a look at what we have on here. Big hit, Up Where We Belong. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that, performed by Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes. Now, we've already talked about Joe Cocker. You know how I feel about him. I love everything Joe's doing. You go back, we have featured him probably a year or so ago on the show, and some of his great albums. Treat Me Right, performed by Pat Benatar, another big artist of the 80s. Now, we haven't touched on Pam's music yet, or Pat's music yet, but we will be getting to that coming up in the next few weeks, possibly. We got the theme from An Officer and Gentleman. Now, more theme music, but this one by Jack Nitschke and Buffy Sainte-Marie. So she's writing the theme music as well. She had also contributed Up Where We Belong. It was Will Jennings and Jack Nitschke and Buffy Sainte-Marie. This one, love theme from Officer and Gentleman, performed by Lee Ritenour, a great jazz player. We got Tunnel of Love, performed by Dire Straits. Now, if you've watched the show, you know anything I think Mark Knopfler and Dire Straits has done has just been excellent. And to include them in the soundtrack, I was looking forward to this one. I don't know how many of you remember the series Miami Vice. And there was an episode, I think it's season 3, and it's called something like Out Where the Buses Don't Run. They had incorporated the Dire Straits tune Brothers in Arms for the whole last segment of the show. And it was just so haunting, so powerful, so mesmerizing. The vocals, the music, Knopfler's guitar playing. And I can say the vocals in the sense of the words to it, because I'll tell you, sometimes I can't even remember the words, but his vocalizing through that song, along with what was going on in the show, it's something that sticks with you. I mean, out of that whole series, that is the one segment that I remember from Miami Vice. And again, it is so ingrained or so powerful. My wife, when she hears the song come on, she knows right away, oh, that's the song they played when this happened on Miami Vice. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to spoil it if you want to go back and check it out. But it goes to show just how a soundtrack can add so much to a scene, that this one became so recognizable by so many people. And it goes back to Dire Straits, Knopfler singing, Knopfler's playing. Just an excellent performer. And on this one, it's Tunnel of Love. Check it out. If you want to check out the one I'm talking about, go to YouTube. I think it's called Out Where the Buses Don't Run. But if you query Dire Straits or Brothers in Arms and Miami Vice, it'll bring it up for you to get a chance to see. And it's a pretty long segment. I mean, Miami Vice was known for incorporating a lot of popular music. Phil Collins in there again as well. But this time they used, I think it's over 6 minutes of the music in there, strictly that Dire Straits tune. So yes, so we've got Tunnel of Love on here. The Morning After Love theme, again, Buffy Sainte-Marie writing, main title for Officer and a Gentleman. Hungry for Your Love. Boy, there's another classic, Van Morrison. We've already done 2 shows on Van Morrison. You know where I stand on him. Again, a lot of the performers on here, they're ones that I find nothing wrong with anything they've ever done. They're some of my favorites. So this album was a real treat. I mean, Joe Cocker, Van Morrison, Dire Straits. I mean, you just keep going. Be Real, performed by the Sir Douglas Quintet, the first group I didn't know. We've got Tush, performed by ZZ Top. another excellent band. We talked about them, well, I guess it'd probably be well over a year or two ago as well. Unfortunately, we lost Dusty Hill in the last little while, so the band's kind of regrouping, but I mean, what a powerhouse band. And again, in the 80s, they were really moving along with the advent of music videos, getting more exposure. And we wrap up again with Up Where We Belong, Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes again. Every song is just a classic. The performers, the artists are some of the great artists of that era. And when you talk Joe Cocker, you talk Dire Straits, you talk Van Morrison, not just that era. They've been giants for decades. I mean, just an excellent album, an excellent sampler from some great bands. So that's one of mine today. It's a great soundtrack album, but a lot of great music and a lot of great performers on there. Soundtrack for An Officer and a Gentleman. Check it out. Okay, that's it for Monday. See you on Wednesday. Till then, everybody take care. Stay safe. Thanks for stopping by.